Good evening. It's Laura Donnelly here, and it's day 191 of Strange and Interesting Times. I'm coming to you from Dancing with Ease, Body Brain Balance, and today I wanted to talk about goals, desired outcomes, disappointments, and navigating these things in our lives. So, a lot of times people say that you need to have some goals, you need to write them down, and you need to focus on going towards them. And a lot of times our brains function in a 1, 2, 3, 4, ABCD kind of way. And life almost never functions that way. At least my life doesn't ever really function that way clearly. But things happen, and I get where I'm going. So it's like if yesterday we went for a drive. We went to this lovely place on the high plains. It's a little town called Westmoreland, and the road is like a roller coaster. It goes up and down and up and down, and the vistas when you're on the top are really wide open. And when we left the house, we were kind of like, well, we just wanted to go on a drive. We have a couple of errands, and then we'll take a drive. And it was the middle of the afternoon. So there's a number of ways to get in Kansas. There's a lot of ways to get places because most towns are the reason the town became a town was because it was at a junction of some different ways of traveling. Sometimes roads and railroads, sometimes roads and rivers. And so there's often lots of intersections happening in a town, which is why the town ended up being there. So we took a fairly direct route to get there. And then on the way, we saw some historical markers for the Oregon Trail, which like I lived here my whole life. I know the Oregon Trail went through the northeast corner of the state of Kansas. But we didn't have a goal to be anywhere by any specific time. So we stopped at this one historical marker, and it said, just over here is a spring that all the people traveling on the Oregon Trail stopped at to water their animals and to get water stacked up so they could keep going and to rest and kind of recuperate a little bit there. And that was just across the road. So we went across the road. There was a little park. There were, those little interpretive signs, which are quite interesting. And we walked around and we saw a place. We couldn't get right close to where the spring comes out of the ground, but it still comes out of the ground in that spot. And people use it to water livestock. It's probably not so good for humans to drink on it anymore. And then we walked down to the creek to see, and tried to imagine how it looked 150 years ago, how steep the bank might have been getting down and coming back up, and where the water went. There were giant sycamores. They were probably, I'm going to say, a minimum of 2 feet in diameter. And they were leaning at an angle like this, which when a tree doesn't go straight up, it leans over. Something leaned it over. So then we were thinking, well, maybe this was floodwaters at a certain time, kept rushing down and caused the trees to lean. And they just kept growing in a leaned way. But then you're thinking, how much water was this? And how difficult was it to get across this creek? And it was a creek, it wasn't a river. So we had a great time. We probably spent about an hour there without even having that on our agenda. And then then we had a couple of options for going uh, back back home, and so I picked a road that we had never been on before. And our goal when we left the house was to take a drive. Then halfway through the drive, we thought, well, let's go to Westmoreland and just look at the world. And then we were always planning to end up back at home, but we didn't have any route specified. So then there's this road called Flush Road. Okay, there's a town called Flush. Why would you name your town Flush? But I don't know. I don't know why you would name your town Flush. Probably it was somebody's name. Oh my heavens. But maybe it's a great name. I should look it up, actually, because it's kind of one of those puzzling things. But so we went on this road, which we had neither of us been on before, and it was another one just going up and down and up and down. And again, the views and the vista, hey, Donita, it's great to see you, were beautiful. And because we didn't have any time pressure or time crunch or finish by a specific time, we were kind of free to take a little dirt road detour to check something out, to go 55 so we could really see the fields and the houses that were along the road. And then when we got close to a bigger highway, I remembered that there was a barbecue place, a new barbecue place out in the middle of the country. But hey, it's Kansas. A lot of times there's a really good place just sitting out in the middle of nowhere. And because then it was going to be late when we got home, because again, we didn't have a goal, we didn't have an agenda, we didn't have a fixed time to be anywhere. And then because it's me, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, oh, if we get home at 6:30, then I have to start cooking. Yeah, I didn't want to cook. So I said, let's try out this new restaurant. So we did. And it was pretty good. Then we went through town and stopped at the grocery store. And then we got home maybe about 7 or 7:30. And it was just a lovely day. Now, if I had had the goal to be home at 5:30 so that I could have had dinner ready by 6:30, all the time that we were just drifting along through space, looking at this historical monument, looking at, walking all over this park, trying to find the source of this spring, taking the little illustrated trail path down to the creek, I've been looking at my watch going, oh, we have to go faster. We have to get back to the car. We have to get going so we can get home so that I can do. And thinking that way now, I would have been so disappointed in having missed the unfolding of our little drive into the country. So, but how do you get things done if you don't make goals for yourself? How do you go forward? Well, actually, I don't think we can stay still. I mean, we're always breathing. Our hair is growing. Eyelashes are falling out. So things are always changing. Now, we can either change them in a direction that we want them to go, or we can just kind of let entropy kind of let everything fall and decay. That's another kind of change. It's kind of like how my garden looks now, right now, after it just got frosted. All of the little things are like dead. And we haven't cleaned it out yet because it was cold today. Here, it was really cold here. So I've been working on this idea of desired outcomes and not having to know exactly how I'm going to get there. And early in the healing path, my friend Christine Goad, she talked about that a path is made by walking. And yesterday we made this little driving path. We might never, ever go that route again. But we got back home, which was the ultimate goal, and we we traversed a really lovely path. Saw a lot of nice things. So often, if I have my desired outcome, the overall outcome, and I just let the path unfold, I have a little bit more fun than if I decide this and this and this and this and this at this time and this at that time and this at another time and this at another time. And then I'm pushing everything all the time to get it to fall into my structure of how to achieve the goal. And sometimes then it just doesn't work at all. Or it doesn't work the way I think it should. And then I'm disappointed. So I've been thinking about this weekend because I've been thinking about uh, building a business and how do you build a business. And everybody says you have to have these financial marker goals that you want to reach. And then you decide how much of what product you want to sell at what price. And then you know that you have to contact X number of people in order to get Y number of people to purchase at A price to create your final goal. And that just doesn't really sound like fun to me. But maybe running a business isn't supposed to be fun. Except, why would you do it if it wasn't enjoyable, if it didn't give you some rewards besides money, give you some enjoyment in the doing of it? Because we have to do so much. So then, like in running your house, you have to do the laundry and you have to do the dishes and you have to change the sheets. And this weekend, I changed out my summer clothes. You know, I have my sweater, my dark clothes, my dark colors, my winter clothes. So I changed out my clothes, which means I folded up all my summer clothes, made sure they were clean, put them in the box, got my winter clothes out. It's a quite tricky little thing because I have, it all has to happen sequentially so that, because I had 3 boxes, that one was empty all the time, then I could do that more easily. That's a new idea. Perhaps that's a good goal. Get a 3rd box so that I wouldn't have to empty a drawer and fill a drawer and empty a drawer and fill a drawer and empty a drawer somewhere, so that I could take the stuff out of the box and put it in the drawer and then take the stuff I put somewhere back into the box. But anyway, it was a chore. We have chores. And some stuff about running a business is a chore. But if I pay attention to the ease in my system, then the chores are discoveries. They're experiments. They're things I can do. I can see, like just then before, when I was talking about changing my clothes around and getting the box out, I got a little bit uneasy in my voice because there's a problem and I kind of need to solve it. And when I want to solve a problem, I want to put my brain into it and make a solution, which is like a goal, which then I'm going to try and achieve. And then if I hear that in my voice, I say, oh, that's funny. You got all wrapped up in that again. And instead I say, oh, how can I do this in a way that promotes my overall health, allows me to be easier in my system, and the paying attention to that becomes a slightly different path. It's not the path of get it done as soon as possible. It's the path of exploring what happens, sort of like our drive. What if I do this? What if I go here? What if I try this? And like I said, now I got the new idea. I just need one more box. Then I'll have somewhere to put the stuff that has to come out of the drawers before I have taken the stuff out of the box for the winter and put it in the drawers. We'll see if I do it by spring. We'll see if we're still meeting like this by spring. I'm wondering if I'm going to get up to 365. Would that be incredible? Be incredible to me. So that was this too. This whole project. I said, well, I'm going to come on live every day while the COVID thing is happening. Never occurred to me that it would keep happening and keep happening and keep happening so long when I first said that. But then I got to realizing that it was going to happen. Then I said, well, I would do this, so I will just show up every day and see what happens. Some days I have to go on my phone because my computer's not working, or I'm traveling, and the phone is the only thing I have access to. So, Donita, 365 days, yeah, they are in reach. We are closer to 365 than we are away from it, which is kind of sad. But we've passed the halfway mark, so we'll see what happens. And it will be interesting to see where you fall in the spectrum of goals and desired outcomes. If I have just a desired outcome, which was like to change over my closet was my desired outcome, it took me 2 days, but that's okay. And you just keep smiling. That's the best we can do. And actually, smiling is really good for us because when we smile, our whole body smiles because everything is connected. Well, not always. Every once in a while, my cousin, like, she gets tired of having her picture taken and she does this fake smile. It's kind of funny. It's a smile that says, don't take my picture again or I'm going to steal your camera. She cracks me up. But I do better with desired outcomes and this unfolding of how to get to the desired outcome rather than a goal with steps. I just sort of don't know. I somehow managed to go through school, grades 1 through 12 or K through 12. That was in steps in an order. Then I learned all these dance steps in an order. Then I quit dancing and I think maybe I broke my follow the rules, stay in order thing. But we'll see. So it's great to see you, Donita. Everybody take it easy. Have a good evening. If you have thoughts about goals and desired outcomes, I would sometimes rather just see what happens than be disappointed that my goal didn't happen. And that maybe is a subject for another day, and perhaps that is cowardly. I'll think about that between now and Tuesday, because Monday, my friend Natasha is going to be on the healing path. We'll probably be on in the afternoon, and I will try to get the post up so that you have time to plan. She is a lovely energy healer. She does long distance healing, so be something new to think about and explore. So take good care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow.